For our example 2, we're gonna use a device. It can be a tablet, a smartphone, that will communicate through Bluetooth to control our Arduino. So this is your Bluetooth module. First, I'm gonna test it using my serial monitor. So that's why I don't have my RX and my TX connected to 0 and 1 in my Arduino. I'm doing this because if I connect them and then I try to upload a code, it won't be able to do it because it's connected to the Bluetooth module. So make sure that when you're testing your code first, or when you try to upload a code, you don't have pin 0 and 1 connected to your Bluetooth module. Otherwise, it won't work. So let's first try to go easy and try to turn on the red LED when we receive anything. So let's define our red as a pin 3. Good. Now let's initialize our serial console. So serial begin, default baud rate 9600, the most common one, and pin mode for our red LED. Oh, sorry, it's turned on, right? Let me turn it off. Okay, so pin mode, red as an output. Okay, so now let's try to check if we receive anything, whatever through UART. Let's turn on that red LED. So serial if serial available it's greater than 0. That means that if I check my serial, my UART, and I notice that I'm getting data which is greater than 0, that moment what I want to do is just turn on a red LED. So it's gonna be detail red. So what this one will do is to turn on your LED as soon as you receive anything. It doesn't matter what it is. You only have to send anything. So let's give it a test. Let's try to send Q, and that's turning on my red LED. So we know that it worked so far. Now let's try to be more specific. Let's save that data and see what we receive. Let's say if I receive an R, turn on. If I receive a 0, turn it off. So we're gonna make a char. Char stores data in ASCII format, which is what we need. That's what this one says. When I type Q, it didn't send Q, but it sent a Q in quotes, like this. That's for letters that are represented by numbers, by byte numbers. So I'm gonna check if I'm receiving something. Now, whatever I receive, it's gonna be saved into RX. So we're gonna use serial.read. That means that I'm checking what am I receiving. I'm just checking if I receive something. Then whatever I receive, it's gonna be saved into RX. So if what I receive is equal to R, I'm gonna turn on my red LED. And if I receive a 0 in ASCII format, that's why I have those quotes there, let's turn it off. Okay. So let's try it. I'm gonna send an R first. It's turning on. Now I'm gonna send a 0. And it's supposed to make it off. But the problem might be that I'm sending some extra characters, so I think it's not being able to read them. That's because we're using a new line. So that means that every time that we send something, we're not just sending that character, but we're sending a new line, which is an instruction. So it's an extra instruction. I'm going to change that for no line ending. Let me press 0, and that's turning it off. So make sure that you do that when you're testing these type of things, because this means that you're sending data plus a new line command. And we just want it to send an R, a 0, or whatever. So with no line ending, it will just send R by itself, R. And if I put 0, it will send 0. Otherwise, it's gonna send something like this. It's gonna send an R and then a new line next to it, something like this, which is just a comment. So it's not sending an R when I type it. I'm sending R and this. But when I change it to no line ending, now it's just sending an R by itself without the new line. So that's the difference. Now let's try to add the other two ones, but instead of an if statement, we're gonna test something new that's called a switch case. So a switch case is a fancy way to do if statements. We write switch Rx, and we're gonna test different cases. So let's say case R. When I get an R, what I want to do is to turn on the red LED. So detail red high, and let's just send the message 0.println. Let's just send through the console as an indicator red on. That means that we're gonna be saying that the red LED is on to the monitor or the device. And when you're done with your kind of if statement, we're gonna write break or your case statement so that it will get out of the switch case. So if I receive an R, I'm gonna turn on my red LED, and then I'm gonna write red on. Let's add the other two. So define yellow as 4, and I think green is 5. Define green as pin number 5. Let's make them outputs. So it's red, yellow, and green. And it's another case for all of them. Which is the same format. So when I get a Y, it's gonna be yellow. Step yellow on. And when I get a G, it's gonna be green. Green on. Okay. And every switch case needs a default. In this case, we're not writing anything, but default it's when you're not receiving anything. Or when any of these cases does not match any otherwise, we're just gonna skip it. What we could do, if you want, it's make my turn off all my LEDs when I receive something that's not valid. We can do that. So let's do red, low, yellow, low, and green low. So let's give it a try to see how it works. Oh yeah, I forgot my, that's right here. Good. So there you go. Let's see, let's send an R. And it's sending red on like crazy. So it's turning it on and turning it off. That's a problem that we need to fix. Let's try Y. It's doing nothing because it's getting stuck. There you go, yellow, but it's doing it like crazy, and we just want it to do it once. And G. Now it's doing it, but it's still turning it on. So what we need to do is to reset our RX every time that we go over this. So what I'm gonna do is once I get out of my switch case, I'm gonna make my RX equal to 0. So it won't go back again here, even though I do not receive anything. When it tries this, my RX will be 0, so it won't go here, it will go here, but that will turn off the lights, and that's why I was saying that would be a problem. Let's give it a try. So it's saying that red's on now once, but it's turning it off. Why? Think about the flow of the code. So I'm waiting to receive anything. Let's say I send an R, that R it's saved into RX. Oh, I need to erase this. And then my RX is R now. So it's gonna go here to my switch case. It's gonna turn on my red light. It's gonna say red on. So it's gonna turn it on, right? At this point it's turned on. It will do one turn. Well, with the break, it will get out of the switch case, and then my RX will be 0. So it's gonna go back here. I'm not sending anything. RX is 0. So it's jumping to the default and it's turning it off. That's why we cannot have these instructions of turn on the light here. I'm gonna erase them. Now we're gonna give it a try. It's gonna show the message, just one, but we're gonna see another pack here. So I'm gonna send an R. It's turning it on. Now let's try to turn on the yellow one. That's a problem. Now it's turning on both LEDs. It's not turning on off the other one. So there's different ways to do this. You may think that you can do here, what you could do here is when you turn on the red LED, turn off your yellow, turn on your green, and turn off your just those two, right? And here in your yellow, turn on yellow, but turn off red. So it's gonna be a lot of code. The easiest thing or the most practical thing that we can do is to reset everything every time that we receive data. Because anyways, we want to turn off our outputs and create a new one. So we're gonna do digital right red low. So we're gonna turn off everything every time we receive something new. And it's gonna jump here and it's gonna write or turn on whatever instruction we want. So first turn off everything, and then in my switch turn on whatever you need. With this RX equal to 0, it will go back again to my switch and it will show it once, and that's all that we need. So red, green, and yellow. See how it works. Clear output, red, yellow, and green. So now it works. If I send anything else, let's send maybe a C, it will shut down because it's going to the, it's turning it off because I'm receiving data, but since I'm going to default, it's not doing anything. So now it's time to connect our RX and TX and open our tablet. So I'm just gonna connect them here for you. There you go. When it's blinking, that means that it's turning on. But remember, when you do this, you won't be able to upload a code again. Look, if I try to upload it, it will get stuck here in my console. It'll show a message saying that it's not being able to connect to the Arduino. And the problem is because you have these pins right here connected. So just keep that in mind.